There is something happening inside of you right now that you cannot undo. And I know that sounds dramatic. I know that sounds like the kind of thing someone says to get your attention. But I need you to hear me when I tell you this is not that. This is not a hook. This is not a metaphor. Something has already shifted in the architecture of your awareness, and the very fact that you are here, that you clicked on this, that something in you recognized this title and felt it land somewhere deeper than curiosity, that is the proof. You did not find this video. This video found you, and the reason it found you is because you have already crossed a threshold that most people do not even know exists. You are past the point of no return, and no, you cannot go back. Now let me be very clear about what I mean by that. Because the mind is going to want to interpret those words through the lens of fear. It is going to want to make this about something ominous, something threatening, something that implies you have lost something, or broken something, or wandered too far from safety. That is not what is happening. What is happening is far more profound and far more beautiful than your fear wants to allow. What is happening is that you have begun to see. And once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you become aware of the deeper mechanics of your own consciousness, once you catch even a glimpse of how reality actually operates beneath the surface of what you were taught, there is no mechanism in the universe that can fold that awareness back into ignorance. The egg cannot return to the shell. The butterfly cannot crawl back into the cocoon. And you, wherever you are right now, whatever stage of this unfolding you find yourself in, you cannot return to the version of you that existed before this seeing began. Let that land for a moment. Just breathe with that. Because most of what you have been experiencing lately, the confusion, the disorientation, the sense that the life you built no longer fits, the strange feeling that you are watching your old world from the outside, the exhaustion that is not physical, but something deeper, something almost cellular. All of that is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is finally, irreversibly right. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. And there is a difference between those two things that changes everything. Here is what no one tells you about awakening. They do not tell you that it feels, at first, like loss. They do not tell you that the initial stages of genuine consciousness expansion look almost identical to crisis. They do not tell you that the moment your perception begins to shift at a fundamental level, the first thing that happens is that everything you built on the old perception starts to destabilize. Relationships that were held together by unconscious patterns begin to strain. Careers that were chosen from conditioning rather than alignment begin to feel suffocating. Beliefs that once gave you comfort begin to feel like cages. And the mind, the beautiful and terrified mind, interprets all of this as something going wrong. It says you are lost. It says you have made a mistake. It says go back. Go back to the familiar. Go back to the comfortable. Go back to the version of reality where everything made sense, even if that sense was built on lies. But you cannot go back. And somewhere beneath the noise of that fear, you already know this. You have known it for a while now. That is why you are here. So let us talk about what has actually happened to you. Let us talk about the point of no return and what it really means. Not in vague spiritual terms, not in abstract philosophy, but in the actual mechanics of consciousness and perception and the quantum nature of reality itself. There is a concept in physics called phase transition. It describes the moment when a system changes from one state to another. Water becoming ice, ice becoming water, water becoming steam. And the critical thing about a phase transition is that it is not gradual in the way we think of gradual. Yes, there is a process. Yes, the temperature changes degree by degree, but the actual transition, the actual moment when the system shifts from one state to another, that is sudden, that is non-linear, that is a threshold event. 1 degree before the boiling point, you have water. 1 degree past it, you have something fundamentally different. And you cannot make steam become water again just by wanting it to. You would have to change the entire environment, remove the energy, cool the system back down. The transition itself is irreversible under the same conditions. This is what has happened to you. Not metaphorically, literally. Your consciousness has undergone a phase transition. The energy that has been building in you, through every question you have asked, through every moment of suffering that made you look deeper, through every book and every conversation and every silent night where you stared at the ceiling and felt that there had to be more than this. All of that energy was accumulating, degree by degree, and at some point, at a point you may not even be able to identify on a calendar, you crossed the threshold. You boiled. You became something that cannot simply cool itself back into what it was. And this is not philosophy. This is observable in the neuroscience of consciousness. When the brain undergoes significant shifts in its default mode network, when the patterns of self-referential thinking that create what we experience as the ego begin to loosen, the neural pathways that supported the old model of self literally begin to weaken. New connections form. New networks activate. The brain physically reorganizes itself around the new perception. And while neuroplasticity means the brain is always changing, the specific kind of reorganization that occurs during genuine awakening creates what researchers describe as a new baseline, a new normal, a new default state that the system naturally returns to. You are not visiting a new state of consciousness. You have moved into one. This is why you cannot go back, not because some cosmic force is preventing you, not because you are being punished or trapped, but because the you that would go back no longer exists. The neural architecture that supported that version of reality has already begun to dissolve. The perceptual framework that made the old world make sense has already been replaced by something wider, something deeper, something that includes what came before but transcends it entirely. You are not the same observer you were, and in a universe where the observer shapes what is observed, that changes everything. If this understanding of the observer and the phase transition of consciousness is resonating deeply with you, what we have touched on here is only the surface of a much larger system. In my book, Beyond the Frequencies, A Quantum Guide to Consciousness Mastery, I walk you through the complete framework, 9 master frequencies that map the entire journey from unconscious transmission to living as the field itself, with step-by-step practices for each stage of this exact awakening you are moving through. It's linked in the pinned comment below. If this is resonating with something deep inside you, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss what comes next in this unfolding. Let me go deeper with this because this is where it gets truly extraordinary. Quantum mechanics has shown us something that most people still have not fully absorbed, even though the experiments have been replicated thousands of times over nearly a century. The observer affects the observed. The act of measurement, the act of conscious attention, does not simply record reality. It participates in the creation of reality. Before observation, quantum systems exist in superposition, in a state of pure potential where all possibilities coexist simultaneously. It is only when consciousness interacts with this field of potential that specific realities collapse into being. Now think about what that means for you right now, in this moment. You are the observer. You have always been the observer. But the observer you were 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, that observer was looking at reality through a very specific lens, a lens shaped by conditioning, by trauma, by inherited beliefs, by cultural programming, by the accumulated weight of everything you were told about who you are and what the world is and what is possible. And that lens was not neutral. It was not a clear window through which you simply witnessed objective reality. It was a filter, a creative filter. It was collapsing the infinite potential of the quantum field into a very specific, very limited version of reality. Your reality. The one that felt so solid, the one that felt so permanent, the one that felt like the only one there was. But here's the thing. When the observer changes, what is observed must change. This is not optional. This is not something you have to make happen through effort or technique or positive thinking. This is physics. This is the fundamental nature of how reality operates at its deepest level. When the lens through which you perceive shifts, the reality that your perception collapses into form shifts with it. Automatically, inevitably, irreversibly. And this is exactly what is happening in your life right now. The destabilization you feel is not chaos. It is recalibration. The old reality that was held in place by the old observer is losing its coherence because the observer that created it no longer exists. You are literally watching a reality dissolve because the consciousness that was maintaining it has evolved beyond it. The relationships that are shifting, the environments that feel wrong, the goals that no longer motivate you, the identity that feels like a costume you forgot to take off. None of that is breaking. It is being released. It is falling away because it was only ever a reflection of a version of you that has already transformed. Pause with that for a moment. Really let that restructure something inside you. You are not losing your life. You are outgrowing a reality. And the new one has not fully formed yet because you are still in the transition. You are in the space between the water and the steam. You are in the liminal zone where the old has dissolved, but the new has not yet crystallized. And this space, this in-between, this is the most disorienting and the most sacred space in all of human experience. I want to ask you something. When did you first feel it? That moment when the old reality stopped making sense and you knew something in you had permanently shifted. Tell me in the comments. I want to hear your story. Every wisdom tradition in history has a name for this space. The Christians call it the dark night of the soul. The alchemists called it nigredo, the blackening, the stage of dissolution that must occur before gold can emerge. The Buddhists speak of the groundlessness that precedes liberation. Indigenous traditions describe it as the space between worlds, the death of the caterpillar before the butterfly has formed. And in every single one of these traditions, the message is the same. Do not go back. You cannot go back. And the attempt to go back is the only real danger. Because here is what happens when someone who has begun to awaken tries to force themselves back into the old reality. They do not actually return. They cannot. What they do instead is create a kind of internal war, a split between the consciousness that has expanded and the identity that is trying to contract. And that war, that internal friction between who you are becoming and who you are trying to remain, that is what creates real suffering. Not the awakening itself, not the dissolution of the old, but the resistance to the dissolution, the clinging, the desperate attempt to hold together a structure that consciousness has already outgrown. Think of it this way. Imagine you are wearing a suit of armor, and for years, that armor served you. It protected you. It gave you a shape, an identity, a sense of solidity in a world that felt threatening. But now you have grown. Not just emotionally or intellectually. You have grown in a way that is almost dimensional. Your consciousness has expanded beyond the boundaries of the armor, and the armor that once felt like protection now feels like a prison. It is too small. It is too rigid. It is pressing against parts of you that did not exist when you first put it on. Now, you have two choices. You can begin the vulnerable, terrifying, beautiful process of removing the armor piece by piece and learning to exist in the open air without it. Or you can try to force yourself back into a smaller shape, to compress your expanded awareness back into the confines of the old identity, to pretend you have not grown, to pretend you do not see what you see, to pretend the armor still fits. The first path is uncomfortable, but it leads somewhere real. The second path is agonizing, and it leads nowhere. Because you cannot actually shrink consciousness. You can only suppress it, and suppressed consciousness does not disappear. It turns inward. It becomes anxiety. It becomes depression. It becomes the unnamed dread that sits in your chest at 3 a.m. It becomes the feeling that you are living someone else's life. It becomes the slow, quiet death of a being that was meant to expand, but chose to contract out of fear. So I am going to say this to you directly, and I want you to receive it not as information, but as recognition, as something you already know being spoken back to you so you can finally stop doubting it. You are not going crazy, you are going sane. For perhaps the first time in your life, you are seeing clearly. And the disorientation you feel is not confusion. It is the shock of clarity in a world that has been blurry for so long that you forgot what focus looks like. The people around you who do not understand what you are going through, they are not wrong. They are simply looking through a different lens. They are still in the reality that you have begun to leave. And from their perspective, you are the one who has changed. You are the one who is different. You are the one who is not making sense. And they are right. You have changed. You are different. And you do not make sense within the framework of the old reality because you are no longer operating within it. This is one of the loneliest parts of the transition. The aloneness of seeing something that the people you love cannot yet see. The isolation of having crossed a threshold that you cannot pull others across. The grief of realizing that some relationships, some connections, some shared realities were only possible because you were both looking through the same limited lens. And now that your lens has changed, the shared reality between you has begun to dissolve. But here is what I need you to understand. This loneliness is temporary. It is a feature of the liminal space, not a permanent condition of the awakened life. Because as your new reality begins to crystallize, as the new observer that you are becoming stabilizes, and begins to consistently collapse new possibilities into form, you will find that new connections appear. New relationships, new communities, new resonances. People who see what you see. People who have crossed their own thresholds. People who speak the language that your old world did not have words for. You are not being isolated. You are being reorganized. The field of your life is restructuring itself around a new center of gravity, and that restructuring requires a temporary dissolution of the old configuration. Stars have to collapse before they can ignite. Seeds have to break open before they can grow. And you, right now, are in the sacred space of breaking open. Now let me take this even deeper, because there is a layer to this that most people miss entirely, and it is perhaps the most important thing I can share with you today. The point of no return is not just about you. It is not just about your personal awakening, your individual consciousness, your private journey from sleep to wakefulness. The point of no return is a collective phenomenon, and you are part of it. There is a concept in complex systems theory called critical mass. It describes the point at which enough individual elements within a system have shifted that the entire system undergoes irreversible transformation. It is the 100th monkey. It is the tipping point. It is the moment when enough individual water molecules have reached boiling temperature that the entire body of water transitions to steam. And what is happening on this planet right now, what has been accelerating for decades and is reaching a crescendo in this exact period of human history, is that individual consciousnesses are awakening at a rate that is approaching critical mass. One by one, person by person, the observers are changing. The lenses are shifting. The old reality, the consensus reality built on separation and scarcity and fear, is losing its coherence because fewer and fewer consciousnesses are maintaining it. You are part of this. Your awakening is not just personal, it is planetary. Every time you choose to see through the illusion rather than reinforce it, every time you hold a wider perspective rather than contracting into the old one, every time you refuse to go back to sleep even when sleep would be more comfortable, you are contributing to a field effect that is shifting the entire collective reality. This is not grandiosity. This is physics. The field responds to every observer within it. And you, as an awakened observer, as a consciousness that has crossed the point of no return, are now contributing a fundamentally different signal to the collective field. You are no longer reinforcing the old reality. You are seeding the new one. With every thought that arises from your expanded awareness, with every choice that comes from your deeper seeing, with every moment that you simply exist as the consciousness you have become.
If you found this message, then something inside you already knows the truth. The old version of you is gone. There is no going back to the person who ignored the signs, silenced their intuition, or kept shrinking to fit into a world that never understood them. You've crossed an invisible line. And from this moment forward, every choice, every thought, every action begins shaping a completely different reality. The discomfort you feel is not punishment. It's transformation. The isolation is not abandonment. It's preparation. Because once awareness awakens, life never looks the same again. You start seeing through illusions. You stop chasing validation, and the universe begins responding to the energy you finally choose to embody. So don't fear the change that's happening inside you. Embrace it, trust it, because the point of no return was never the end of your story. It was the beginning of your real one.